Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Boss Your Business. And today is going to be interesting because Mikki has a similar story herself that I went through with my husband. So if you don't know my story, still hang around. It will be interesting today. And to introduce you, Mikki, you are a 2 times naturopathic cancer survivor. Now my audience knows why we get along so well. And the mother of 3 young men. You went from powerless to powerhouse by stepping into your personal power and taking radical responsibility for your health and wealth. Mikki is passionate about helping women grow through life by example, grow through life and by example. And you teach how to build up one another through community and co-awesomanating. I managed that without breaking my tongue. I love the word, but I
Isn't
was
that a good
afraid
word?
of getting that straight.
Yeah.
So we all can be our own personal badass self. And when I saw the badass in that speaker bio, I had to have her on. Hi, Mikki. So great to have you.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
I am really excited to have you here because you went through it yourself. I went through it with my late husband, and we have a similar drive and reaction that we pulled out of our diversity. So my audience already has a little bit of an idea now where you came from, what your stories is, but I want to dive a little bit deeper in there.
Okay.
What's Mikki's story? How did you get here?
Well, I'm not going to start at the very beginning. I'll start when I was 28 and I got my first cancer diagnosis.
That's
I had
young.
4th stage cervical and uterine cancer. And I didn't know this at the time. I found out later that 90% of women die within the first year when they're diagnosed with cervical cancer. So not
And
knowing what
stage 4.
yeah,
So
not
for
knowing what
anybody that is not used to cancer numbers, there is no stage 5. I don't think that has changed since then. Or at least at head and neck cancer, they told me there is no stage 5.
I didn't think there was either. One of my customers now just got diagnosed with stage 5 prostate cancer, and
So I guess
I
that might have changed
I don't
since
know,
then.
but I don't mince words when I'm talking with a cancer client.
Yeah, no.
There's certain things you need to do and certain things you need to not do, and I'm not messing around. Anyway, so I'll never forget sitting across the table from what I call the almighty white coat telling me that I'm going to die and I'm not going to have any more kids and they have to, take my girl parts and all of this stuff. Is it okay if I swear on this?
Oh yeah,
'Cause
we're
it
an
might come
explicit
out.
podcast. You go for it, girl.
Because so I was raised in a very tumultuous family and I was very, quiet, and I wasn't quiet and meek. There were 2 sides of me. One side was like repressing and one side was, so the rebel rose up in me and I looked at that doctor and I just thought, I don't know who the fuck you think you are, but I'm not going to die and you are not going to tell me whether or not I can have kids anymore. So step off. Give me a minute. I got this. I had
Watch me.
right? Triple dare. Yeah. But I didn't know what I was doing. So I went and I talked to my naturopath, she was my midwife, also a naturopath, who just happened to be the spokeswoman in America for cervical dysplasia. It was a God thing. It was such a God thing. And so she gives me this whole long list of things I could not eat and this little tiny list of things that were on the menu. And I was on my knees. I'm like, I can't eat anything. This is ridiculous. So she put me on this incurables protocol, which basically boiled down to 3 things: get good things into the cells, get bad things out of the cells, and then stop doing the bad things. And I remember her giving me this big long list of herbs that I was supposed to be taking and tinctures and things like that. And like, to be clear, I was 28 and I had been a welfare mom before. I had no money. I had no experience. I had no self-esteem. And I now had my second child and cancer. So I had a 6-week-old baby at my breast when I got this diagnosis. And so I'm looking at the list and I'm like, Dr. Molly, I got half this crap growing in my backyard. Can't I just, pull up some dandelion and like, where's the DIY? And I became an herbalist, and I literally went out into the forest and I drug home forest products, and I
Yeah.
learned how to make my own medicine. I became an herbalist, created Urban Wildflowers, which was a, grassroots tea and tincture. I had about, 100 different products, was selling them at farmers markets and things like that. And remember, this was in 1996. So there was not a health food section. You could not
No.
buy a tincture unless you knew, the little Chinese herbal shop. So I had to make my own. And so it took me about a year of juicing and fasting and wheatgrass and coffee enemas and all kinds of fun stuff that nobody ever wants to hear about. I was raw vegan for a year, and I was like very strict, but I
Yeah.
did it. I beat cancer, and I was pretty proud of myself, and I was
Heck
way
yeah.
yep. Yeah. So 10 years later, life got stressful, and I'd had another baby and put on bed to prove them wrong, right? I wasn't supposed to have any more. So I'm like, don't tell me what not to do. And life got stressful. My mother passed away. We sold the farm and bought a fixer-upper, and, tumultuous marriage, all the things. And then I had my second diagnosis with cancer. And I want to tell you that the second diagnosis was way harder than the first one. I think mostly because I knew what needed to be done. It wasn't like, oh, I have to grow all my own food. Oh, I have to coffee enema every day. Okay. Because the first time I was clueless and 10 years younger. And so I just did the thing. And this time I'd saved my notes, thank God. But I was like, oh my God, really? I have to do. The lesson was that it's a lifestyle.
Yep.
You don't heal yourself and go back to McDonald's. It's a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, very strict vegan. Every bite that went into my mouth, I was like, is this alkaline? Is this acidic? Is this going to heal me? Is this going to hurt me? Really, I didn't realize it at the time, but really walking a fine line of fear, really a fine line of fear.
Yeah.
And so now it's 2008, and I was cancer-free second trip through for about a year and a half. And a friend of mine introduced me to this alkaline water machine, Kangen water. And legit, I rolled my eyes at her and called her a liar at her kitchen sink. I'm like,
and it's like, I don't know how your experience was. And at that point, you are back again, a year and a half cancer free. But
yeah.
One of the things that happened to me through these 2 years of taking care of my husband was this finding the appreciation for people wanting to help you,
Yes,
but needing to step back and making your own decision.
Everybody's got the magic pill.
Yep.
Everybody has advice, and I'm always really careful because obviously cancer is sort of my wheelhouse, and people will come to me with things of that nature and want me to help them. And back in the day, I was like mocking up this whole herbal protocol, and this is what you need to eat, and this is what you need not. And oh my God, it's a lot of work, and nobody wants to live that way. It's hard. I mean, this is not for sissies. Anyway, so my girlfriend had 4th stage breast and uterine cancer and cured it naturopathically. Same route that I had taken. So she got my attention. Her cancer came back 8 years later, similar to my story, but she had heard about this Kangen water, and not making any medical claims here. So don't, telling her story. We're not supposed to do this, but it's just you and me, right? So
nobody's listening.
She had reversed her cancer in 6 weeks drinking this water. And I did not believe.
And it's to take this out for a second of a specific solution and just in general. We know that our body is freaking amazing. We know that our body rebuilds itself in a certain amount of time. This is how bad my brain is today. So we know that what we put in our body feeds our body. We know that if we're going to go to McDonald's 3 times a day, then we're going to look like McDonald's at some point. So no matter if it's Kangen water or something else, we know that the better the stuff we put into our body, the better it is.
Right.
So Yeah, would I make a claim for keto water necessarily? No, but again, there is a sense behind figuring out what your body needs to heal itself, how you can feed your body. Again, how you mentioned in the beginning, how to feed your body, how to take out the bad stuff out of your body and stick with the good stuff.
Yeah. Which is, it's no easy feat in today's
No.
world because we're just inundated. Every angle, every screen, every commercial, it's a war. We are
And
at
it's
war.
especially in the States.
Yeah.
Especially in the States.
Yeah.
I'm German coming into the States. And I think the best example about how bad food is in the States
Yeah.
is the example of a lot of my friends that have lactose intolerance or gluten intolerance.
Right.
They are fine in Europe. They are fine in Europe. They can shove bread in their face and
Yeah.
cheese in their face, and their
Yeah.
body is not reacting to
Right.
it.
There's no Roundup in that flour.
So now that I'm off of my tangent,
We can talk about that all day long.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So
my audience and my friends know I have quite a strong opinion.
yeah, me
Just a
too.
little bit.
My mother used to say everyone's entitled to Mickey's opinion, and I'm like, at least I have one.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, so back to Diane's kitchen sink. So she's standing there, telling me her story, and I'm calling her a liar. I'm like, girl, I know what it takes to get through cancer, and you didn't do it in 6 weeks with water. And she was like,
Watch me.
just try the water. And I was like,
Watch me.
what am I going to say? Right. So I start drinking this, magic water, and I can't get enough of it. I mean, I didn't believe it, but I could not get enough of it. My body was like, glunk, 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 glunk. Oh God, it just drank it up. And to be clear, I had a 400-foot well at my house. So I had good water. It tasted great, but I hated it. You know how you drink water and you get bloated and it just you can literally feel it slosh around in your stomach. I just forced myself to drink it. I would sooner drink wormwood tea back then, which tastes nasty, in case you don't know what that tastes like. Normal people don't drink that, but it's a great cleanse. So I take this water home, and it's a 45-minute each way drive to get this water. And she's telling me I have to get it fresh. So 3 times a week, I'm driving to Amboy, Washington, also known as Nowheresville, and getting this water. And so I work part-time at Macy's because it was 2008, and my now ex-husband was a contractor. And, we didn't have any money, and so I'm working, I'm just supplement the income. I lived in Longview, which is also Nowheresville, USA, population nothing. And so the closest job was Macy's. It made $9.50 an hour, so I was part-time. And so I'm going to work, and the girls at work are going, what's different about you? Something, your skin looks different. So here's what happened for me. I had what I affectionately called China in Africa on my face. I had eczema on the side. I had allergies. I lost 15 pounds when I started drinking this water. And, weird, I guess I was just dehydrated because I didn't like water. So anyway, I start drinking this water, and the girls start noticing, and they're like, wait, we want to try this water. I'm like, I know, sounds crazy, but come with me. Well, I'm no dummy, right? So I got them paying for the gas. And now I'm using my friends as guinea pigs because I don't know. Is this in my head? Maybe I was just dehydrated. Who knows? It's water. This is 2008. Facebook didn't barely exist, and YouTube wasn't even a thing yet. So there wasn't, you couldn't research it like you can now. Which is there's a lot of bad stuff out there, but I'll tell you how to actually research it. So now I have 5 friends on the water. One has arthritis, one has bursitis, one's husband had gout, one had morning sickness of all things. And all of them experienced a significant benefit from drinking this water, mind blowing. And we're scratching our heads, what is this stuff? How can that be real? And, so we're all, and then I'm standing in Diane's kitchen, and we'd been drinking the water for 6 weeks, and I never bothered to ask how much it was because I knew I couldn't afford it. And I'm thinking 400, right?
And it's like my NLP coach pops up. When did you decide that? You don't even have a number yet, and you decided you can't afford it.
I've done a lot of work on me since then. Right.
It's just interesting when my coach comes, because I was the same way. Again, I was exactly the same way, which is why it pops up to me. So, and I wanted to bring it up for the audience so that you out there watching and listening can start realizing when you are making decisions without even having the information.
Yes.
Because what happened there is you didn't have the information. You didn't even know what the machine is going to cost, and you decided already you can't afford it.
Yeah. The not enoughness was kicking in before I even asked the question.
And I think we've all done that.
So my niece gave out when she did give me the actual price, like literally gave out. And I'm like, who buys these things? And she's like, everybody. I'm like, yeah, everybody but me. I don't have $40 to my name, let alone 4,000. And in 2008, $4,000 was a lot more money back then than it is now.
4,000 still can be a lot of money.
It is compared to what I like to say, because, obviously I sell a lot of these machines, but, it's really what I know about these now and what I know about human nature is if you're investing in yourself and that's too much money for you, we have a self-worth issue.
Yep.
So anyway, I at that time I was like, that's not on my menu. I'm out. I guess I was just, fooling myself. And so I went off the water and my energy level went, my allergies everything came back. And, my friends and I were all like, well, maybe we were just dehydrated. So I made the commitment to drink that much of my good water, la, la, la. It didn't work. It didn't help. It's just different. It's just different water, different structure, different, energetically different. I didn't know any of this at the time. I just knew that I was tired and I didn't realize how tired I was before, which is scary for me as a 2-time cancer survivor. My first diagnosis, I was 28 and I remember thinking, I'm a fucking black belt. Who does this guy think he is? Because I'm like, I know my own strength in certain areas, but I thought I was healthy and it was kind of a kick in the solar plexus that, wasn't what I thought it was.
Yeah, especially at that age,
right?
We still have this whole
invincible thing. Yeah. It was a wake-up call. So I just went off the water after, Diane and I had that talk, and I was just, I'm just going to have to go back to wheatgrass. I'm just going to have to make peace, start juicing again and get my energy back. And about 6 weeks later, she phoned me up and she says, hey, you guys want to come out for dinner? And I was like, can I bring my jugs? So we got to her house and she said,
it's so hilarious because I do similar things. It's like, you want to pick my brain, you better feed me.
Yeah. So I'm sitting at her bar in her kitchen, and she gives me this big glass of water, and I start like drinking it. I couldn't stop. Like I literally finished the whole thing without breathing, and something happened in my brain. My brain literally came back online, and I said to myself, I'm getting one of these. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm getting one. My body just lit up. I knew physiological and mentally and spiritually, I knew I had to have this. And so, funny how the universe works. About 3 days later, I got a random check in the mail for a back child support from dude I hadn't talked to in 18 years. and I, so I called it's now my ex-husband, but I was like, guess what I'm doing? And he's like, what? I said, I'm buying a Kangen water machine. And he's like,
you are insane. How the hell?
How are you going to pay for it? What are you going to do? And I was like, I have no idea, but I know I have to have one of these. And I was the perfect Stepford wife before this. I never stood up to him. Google it if you don't know what that is, for you youngsters. And so this was a big deal for me to make that stand and decide. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. I just had enough for the down payment. Where the $225 a month was going to come from, I didn't have a clue. But I knew that, one, it came with a business because Diane told me how much she was making with it. And I kind of rolled my eyes. I was like, girl, if you can do this, anyone can do this. Cute as she is, she's like doing demos and spilling things and so funny. And, and I'm like, seriously. But I knew the water worked. It was like, it was perfect. The whole thing was perfect. And so, I bought the machine and I started sharing water with people, and would you believe it? But they didn't want to hear it. Nobody believed me. They were like,
Uh-huh.
okay, Mikki, they loved it when I was bringing in for free. But as soon as I asked for the sale, they were like, hmm. So I called a friend of mine, one of my karate instructors, and he said, so what's going on? And I'm like, God, I'm so frustrated, blah, blah, blah. I said, I feel like I need to go to school. Now, mind you, it's 2008, and my husband at the time was a contractor, right? We are circling the drain. I didn't even know how broke we were, which is a good thing. So he did, because him and my ex were best friends. So he goes, Mikki, you don't have time to go to school. You need to stop procrastinating. What you need is not initials behind your last name. What you need is confidence, and there's only one way to get it. So go do the thing that you're procrastinating. And I was like, So, I just started sharing water. I started teaching myself. I went to the library and I got, gosh, what some of the books, Greatest Salesman in the World,
Yep.
Think and Go Rich, You Were
Yep.
Born a Millionaire, things like that. The Secret had
Mm-hmm.
just come out. So now I'm making vision boards, and, I got to work on me, and I started, just sharing the water. My husband got hurt on the job and went into the hospital for 30 days.
Oh God.
Yeah. And so suddenly, the bankers are calling me and my house is in foreclosure. I'm like, okay, so how long we been making car payments on credit cards? What am I going to do? So I'm like, I got so mad. I was
And
like,
for my European listeners, if you are out in the States for 30 days, you are not getting unemployment. You are not getting sick time leave.
yeah, well, he was
The,
self-employed, so none of that was on the bank.
even yeah.
Yeah.
So the safety net you might have in Europe or that I used to have in Germany, you don't have that.
Yeah. It
Out
doesn't.
of work means out of work means out of money.
Yeah. So I did what I would never in a million years would have thought I would have done. I was angry. I was like, I am not living a lie. I can't believe he did that to me. He didn't do it to me. Done a little work since then, but he didn't know what to do either. But
Yep.
his response to it was to hit the bottle and numb the pain, and hence the word X. Anyway, this was the beginning of the end, because I put the house up for short sale. I drove my cars to the bank and put the keys in the deposit box,
Yep.
and drove home in a borrowed piece of crap rattle trap. And
Yep.
I was like, I am not living a lie. I had a big garage sale. I sold everything, and I'm hunting. Like, I don't know where I'm going to live. I don't know what I'm going to do. We got a buyer for the short sale. And then the sale fell through 3 days before it
Oh.
was supposed to. So, we just stayed there like, okay, we're just going to stay here until they kick us out. But that day that I drove my car back to the bank and put my keys in the deposit box, I came around the corner to drive up the hill, and I saw this woman standing on the corner, 3 kids. I have 3 kids, and she has a sign and it says, homeless, anything helps. And I just started crying. I was like, you know what? That's not going to be me. That is not going to be me. I'm going to figure this out. And at that time, I still didn't know what I was going to do. But I got home and I randomly opened up this little book called Simple Solitude, I think it was. Back before we had cell phones, we took books into the bathroom. I used to call it, I used to call it a bathroom book, right? Because it's
Yeah,
like,
we do.
right,
At
one little
at
page.
some bathrooms, you even had a stack, like
Yeah,
3 or 4 books ready
yeah,
to go in the bathroom. Oh
yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
So this was that. So I open up to this random page. It's a thick book. It's, open it up random. And the little, summarized story is Acres of Diamonds. Are you familiar with the story?
No.
Okay, I'm going to give you a super short version of it. So this African woman is given a dowry, and it's a farm. So she gets married and her husband is really resentful. He does not want to be a farmer. He's dreamt of diamonds his whole life. So he leaves her and the kids and he goes out into the diamond mine and he dies. Great story, right? She remarries, and this man is ever so grateful for what he has been gifted. And so he goes out into the field and he tills the field, and guess what he finds? Acres of diamonds. So the moral of the story is, I still get goosebumps every time I tell the
Mhm.
story. The moral of the story is that you already have everything you need. You just need to till the field. And when I read that, I looked up and there was my machine. And I thought, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be the water lady. I know the water works. I've seen it help multiple people already. I know if Diane can do this, I can do this. And that's what I'm going to do. So I just made the commitment and I started reading The Greatest Salesman in the World. And I said to myself every single day, I will persist until I succeed. I will persist until I succeed. I'm going to figure this out. And that was in 2008. We did, in fact, lose that house. By that time, I had made enough money to buy a car and rent a home. Um, and then I made enough money to actually rent a table at a home show. And I came home with like 100 names, maybe two. I don't know. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do with all this? And I got to call all these people and I'm delivering water and I'm having them over to the house and I'm explaining, and I got to educate myself on this thing the whole way through because this is a Japanese medical device. There's a lot to know. And the backstory to that being a miracle is I'm gonna use a really not PC word right now. So if you
We are
don't
not
like it,
PC, so go
sorry.
for it.
When I was in first grade, I want to say, teacher looked at me and she goes, "She's not like everybody else. We're really worried about her. We think she might be retarded, so we're gonna have her tested." Well, they never told me the rest of the story until I, was much later. No, I wasn't like everybody else, but it wasn't that I was retarded. I'm gifted. I have an emotional intelligence and an intuition that's off the chart. But don't give me a math problem because
it's not gonna function.
Let me tell you, the day I hired an accountant,
Oh, I feel you on that one.
Right?
Bookkeeping and accountant was the first thing I outsourced, and I learned the stuff in school. I'm actually fairly good with numbers. No.
Yeah, I'm just going to hire somebody to do that stuff. It's fine. So for me to learn all that stuff, I had a lot of like blocks. I had to lose the I'm stupid label. I had to use the R word label. I had to really step outside my limiting beliefs that, oh, $4,000 is so much money. I had to let go of that or I was never going to sell any machines. And like something clicked in me that, wait a minute, the more I work on me, the better person I become, the more people I can help. And the more people I can help, the more money I make. Wait a minute, is this real? Somebody pinch me. No, wait, don't. So, so I just kept going. I just kept going. And I opened up a little tiny hole in the wall water store so that I could have some place besides my kitchen sink to share my product. Because it was bananas. My neighbors are like, is she selling drugs over there?
What are you doing in your house? You constantly have parties. What the hell?
Leaving with all these jugs. And my kid, my youngest, who's total introvert, he's like, oh my God, and my ex who was like, I just want to make a fucking salad. And there's people in my kitchen all the time and I never charged for it. I was like, all I ask is that you tell your friends. Yeah, we had a lot of people in the kitchen. And so I opened up this little tiny water store in downtown Vancouver, Washington. There's no parking, people were getting parking tickets every day because this girl likes to talk. And I just started sharing water and selling machines and I just kept going. But my marriage was failing. And so the harder I worked, the more successful I became, the less control he came, the more stronger and better person I felt like I was, more confident I had, the angrier he got. And so we were just doing this. And so I, had a coach and she said, you need to have a private account. You need to save some money. You need to. So I did that. And one day he found it and it got ugly. And so here's divorce coming down the pike. And I pulled the plug on the store. I was like, I need to lay low because I didn't want him to take half my business, which he did at first. But we actually were homeless for a minute because we decided we sat down and we had this conversation. Should we buy a house or should we get a divorce? We decided that my youngest.
It's the complete opposites.
Right?
Buy a house or get divorced. That is.
Well, we had a 6-year-old. We had a 6-year-old at the time. So, we're like, well, we got a lot of work to do. So we need to do this. But I have one caveat. You have to quit drinking. This isn't going to work. I'm not living like this. And so that was the agreement. And we put a down payment on a house. And this is apparently a pattern. 3 days before it was supposed to close, fell apart. the whole thing fell apart.
I
And
have the gut feeling that that was a good thing.
yeah, it was a really good thing. So thank God my girlfriend said, "Hey, we're going to Italy. You can house sit for 6 weeks." And so we, caravanned off we were staying in Lake Oswego, and my kid was going to school in Battleground. It's a 45-minute drive each way, right? I got to get this kid to school, and from school twice a day. It was madness. And I was like, so riddle me this, ex-husband. I made 6 figures last year. Where did the money go? And he couldn't answer me. And I don't even want to know now. But I made a decision that this is not sustainable. I'm done. I'm done with this. So we finally, I'm selling machines, whatever, get into this house. And 10 days later, he tells me to get the fuck out and not to come back. And I was like, wait. It sounds like you said, get the fuck out and don't come back. Is that what you meant? And he said it again. And I looked over, and my little guy was listening, and he started crying, and he's like, why is he always so mean to you? And just something went off in my brain. I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? He sees it. He sees it. I realized that I was staying because I wanted to give my kids a foundation and to teach them what a marriage looks like. And what I was really teaching them was how to treat your wife like crap. And so the next day I said, you know what, you're free to go. You're free to go. And long story short, he left. We didn't even really fight about it, but he wound up with half my business. And so I'm like, okay,
Done
fine.
it once, do it again.
Right. And so, but I just stopped working. Like I did just enough to pay rent, and that's it. Like I was making really good money before, and all of a sudden it's like, you know, and so then we go through the divorce court of that's mine, this is yours, and la la la. And we meet up in the parking lot afterwards, and he's got half my business, and I'm like, I built it. And he's like, well, my name is on it, and all those people are in my downline. I'm like, they don't even know you. And I said, what do you want? What do you want? What
do you really want? You don't want the business. What do you really
yeah.
want?
He goes, you know what I really want? I want the stereo. The Carver, the one you gave me for Mother's Day 15 years ago, that stereo. He's like, yeah. I'm like, you want speakers? So I met him at 8:00 in the morning the next morning, and we, paperwork and did the trade, and I had my business back. And I'm like, now it's go time. Now it's mine. It's go time. Speakers, stereo, whatever.
Okay.
It's $1 million business. So
Fine.
I got busy, and I would take my machine, and I would, park it inside a chiropractor's office, or I parked it inside a bead store one time, and I would go network and drive traffic to her bead store, and she loved it. She's like, I have all these new customers, and I get this magic water, and and I'm a little salesperson. I'm like, it would look good with that outfit, and I'm selling stuff. I'm like working for her when I wasn't doing my thing. I'm like, I'm going to provide value for her.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to gift her with whatever I can while I'm there. And I just started building my business. And then so one day I was at this little health food store, and I'm, doing a water demonstration presentation. And mind you, I have gone so far above and beyond for this business. Like I would go do a demo, and I'd take a freaking TV so that I could do a PowerPoint, I'm like, my whole car is loaded. I would do, health fairs 50 miles away, and I just wouldn't stop. And so now I'm at the local health food store, and I'm giving a little presentation. I'm about halfway through, and this guy walks in, and I look at him and I go, oh my God, I can't believe you just walked into my life. It was the first boy I had ever kissed.
Oh.
That same cute guy you saw earlier. I knew I was going to marry him the minute he walked in. So turns out he was really good with video, and he started making me videos, and it launched.
Put them to work.
Right. It was such a great synergy, so I would help him with his business, and he would help me with my business. And I've learned that I'm really good at helping people with their businesses. I get these ideas, and I'm like, okay, so here's a good idea. And
I love it.
and then I was like, he just started making me some, and I was like, all my friends are asking me if he would make them videos. I'm like, no, They take forever. We had really primitive equipment. And I was like, well,
Mhm.
what if we just bought some better equipment and made some business cards? We'll just throw it out there. Right. He was driving a school bus at the time. And I'm like, so in between routes, he would be doing this. And so we did that. And I like learned really quickly that, here's Steve with his business and he really wants to buy a water machine, but he can't afford it. I'm like, okay, I got you. Let's make you a video, boost your business, and then you'll be able to afford a machine.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just I really get off on just helping people, whether it's with the water or video or, the health, whatever. And it just started taking off. So now we've got all these video clients. We've got, water people in the house. Like we have 2 businesses that we're running out of the house and it's nuts. It's just bananas. And so we decided that we're going to open a wellness center. And, but it had to be big enough to have the studio in it, which is where I'm at now. So in my wellness center, I have 6 Kangen water machines and we have a membership and they get to try it for a couple of weeks free. And then we have a membership. Marty has his video business. And so his people will come in to meet him for video and they walk in. I wish I had some pictures to show you. It's the floor looks like the ocean. It's gorgeous. It is absolutely amazing. And they walk in and they're like, what is this place? It's really magical. And so, I'm able to have like this professional platform where my distributors can come and bring their people and they don't have to share out of their kitchen sink or their garage or, the park or deliver water or whatever. And I really wanted to create a platform where other businesses could come and speak and we could make videos for them. And also where we could just help the community enrich their lives and empower people. Because really, like at the end of the day, the water totally helped my health. It got my husband off 5 medications. I've helped thousands and thousands of people with the water. And at some point, just it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough just to help them with their health. I really wanted to empower them because for me, the real magic was when I learned how to support myself and I learned how to support myself by becoming a better person, right? By empowerment, really. And so it's kind of been my mission. It's like, okay, what do you need? And how do I bring my awesome and marry it with your awesome? That's where I get the word Coawesomate. And so,
I feel you so much on that, where it's like the connections, the help, the ideas, the energy, whatever it is, where it's like,
it's really, how do we serve? How can I serve you? And that's been the backbone of my business. I thought it was going to be about health. It's so much more. It
usually is till we realize it. So you have a whole bunch of stuff going on between you and hubby. There is lots going on.
Yeah.
What are some of the processes and workflows that you are running behind the scenes to make all of this happen?
Really, for me, it's people. I want to say, processes or, the social media and the pieces that we put in place to kind of make things evergreen, the videos and the content marketing and all of those kinds of things. It kind of goes without saying, but for me, it's over the years finding that network and those key people that show up when you're like, I don't know. Does anybody know a plumber? Does anybody know a POS guy? And, all of the people that I served all of the years have come into play in their own businesses. And really, I feel like it's not about system and processes. It's about who we've served and how we co-osomate, how it flows and comes back.
Which is closely followed by the question of, what are some tools that you use on a regular basis?
Some tools that I use on a regular basis are video. I really want to say that. And in my opinion, there's 2 different kinds of video. There's the videos that we make ourselves, and they're mandatory. If you want to build your business, you absolutely have to get comfortable on camera, and you have to get over yourself and put yourself out there. You just have to. It's awkward, it's uncomfortable, and it's therapy.
And we all been awkward in the beginning. If you scroll back on my YouTube channel to the beginning, the video, yeah.
You know what though? That's
It's
the
so
authentic piece that's the real,
Yeah.
the real, right? The other kind of video that I feel everybody needs one professional video. One, we call it a VBC, a video business card. So it's you can see mine on my K Water Store website. My husband made it for me, and it's designed to you watch that video and you feel like you just kind of got a snapshot into my life, and you feel like you know me and you like me, and hopefully I'm okay if you don't. And you trust me by the time we have a conversation. Like, you know my why. And with all of the noise out there in the world and all of the not professional video, I feel like just having one really good, well done professional tool like that it's catapulted my business. It's changed everything.
I love it. And I love the whole story where it's like, and this is why I start the podcast always with this question of how did you get here?
Yeah.
Because and guys, all of you watching and listening, yes, I get from my guests a little short rundown of how they got here, so I have an idea where I want to take the show, but I only have a glimpse of an idea of what my guests have gone through and how they got here. But the impact you especially have on my audience of you get smacked over the head more than once or twice or three times.
Yeah.
And I agree. It comes down to there is so many offers out there. There is so many plug and play solutions. But what it all comes down to is our own personal growth, figuring out ourselves, figuring out our mindset, figuring out where our limiting beliefs are and what the hell is going on in our mind in general, positive as well as negative.
Right.
And growing and adjusting to go where we want to be.
And really reaching out for help. Like I've had some phenomenal coaches that have, smacked me upside the head and said, well, it is whatever you think it is, isn't it, Mikki? And, um, and I've paid thousands of dollars in coaches, and some were great and some were a complete waste. I've learned a lot about that, and it seems like everybody's a coach these days, and it's a little bit nauseating. Like, I had this friend reach out and she's a coach, and, oh, I just so want to work with you. And I'm like, you're not where I want to be. So
yeah, there is a reason why I do not like to add coach in my title, even though I do coach my clients, because it's like everybody is a coach nowadays. And I think we've all been through that learning period of, okay, that coach just didn't work out. I literally just fired a coach of mine after 3 months because I'm like, now what you said this is going to be, and I know it's not getting me anywhere. But I also see it in a way, specifically with this one, where I'm like, cool, I did learn what I need to ask my coaches, what I need to look for, what I learned a lot about me also, what I need to get support. Where if you are handling your coaching program that way, I already know this is not for me. I need these and these pieces in how I work with a coach to be able to get a result.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always a learning. No matter if it's a good or a bad learning, you always learn something out of it.
School's expensive either way.
But so worth it because we all just want to grow. So Mikki, where can people find you?
They can find me at kangenwaterstore.com or kwaterstore.com. It all goes to the same place. I got in trouble with corporate, so it's all K Water Store.
Trademarks and copywriting.
Yeah. So YouTube, it's K Water Store. Facebook, Insta, K Water Store, kwaterstore.com. I'm all over the place. So just look for Crazy Face. We're constantly putting new videos up, and and just trying to save the world one glass at a time.
One glass at a time. And as you all know, the links are going to be in the description, so you easily can just click on it and find Mikki. Thanks so much for joining me, and thanks for everybody watching and listening. I'll see you in the next episode.
It was a joy. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.